And welcome out to downtown Chugach as your Chugach Eagle River Chinooks are taking on the Anchorage Glacier Pilots for the third day in a row. The Pilots have gotten the better of the Chinooks the last 2 days. The Chinooks looking for a little bit of revenge today. I'm Lance Morris. Thank you for joining us on the Sunday afternoon. First up for the Pilots, Kyle Watson. First pitch to him in there, called strike one. First pitch time of 5:04. Here's the 0-1. Misses down and in ball one. On the hill today for your Chinooks, Cody White, the senior from Davidson. The 1-1. That's it on the ground towards second. Will Bass will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first in time for out number one. One down, top of the first inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Deshaun Kersey up to the plate for the Pilots. First pitch to him. And they're called strike one. Now the 0-1. Down in the turf ball, 1-1 to Deshaun Kersey. Defensively for the Chinooks, starting in the outfield, fairly typical lineup today for the Chinooks, Mallard and Populous and Sanford in the outfield. The 1-1. That one's hit out towards short right field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Kersey's on with a base hit with one down. One down, top of the first here in Chugach. Tanner Sanders now up for the Pilots. Also defensively for the Chinooks, Colin Borst at third, Aaron Shackelford at short, Will Bass at second, Ethan Whisker at first. First pitch Sanders down in the turf. And that will allow Kersey to advance to second. Tanner Sanders hitting .239 with one double and two triples. The 1-0. Inside ball two. 2-0 to Tanner Sanders, the sophomore from Oregon State. The 2-0. That one's hit over towards Shackelford at short. He'll barehand it, and he won't make a play. And we also saw Kersey on the move on the hit and run, so that works perfectly for the Pilots. Kersey moves to third. Sanders is on with an infield single. One down, runners at first and third. Joe Gillette up to the plate. Behind the plate today is Ben Hill. He'll make his first and third call. Had a couple days off the past few nights with Mallard and Lininger behind the plate. First pitch to Gillette. Runner on the move. And Hill will concede before he tries to check over to third. And Kersey is still back in time. So a steal from Sanders puts runners at second and third. One down. Still in the top of the first here in Chugach. The 0-1. That one's hit hard out towards center field. Greg Populous will bring that one in for the catch. And he'll throw between the runners to split them, but that does allow one run to score in Deshaun Kersey. Pilots will take the 1-0 lead here in the top of the first.
Number 16, the third baseman, Nate Eichhoff.
Nate Eichhoff now up to the plate, 2 down. Top of the first, Pilots just took a 1-0 lead. First one to Eichhoff. Swing and a miss, strike one. We didn't see Eichhoff in the lineup yesterday for the Pilots. The 0-1. Got to be inside, called strike two. So Eichhoff down in the count, 0-2 to Cody White. Here's the 0-2. That one's fouled out of play. Count remains 0-2 to Nate Eichhoff, the freshman from the University of Virginia. The 0-2. Up high, ball one. 1-2 count to Eichhoff. The 1-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Will Best tries to make a diving play, won't be able to bring it in. And that will allow Sanders to score all the way from second. So that'll be an RBI single from Eichhoff. Makes it a 2-0 score in favor of the Pilots. Number 19, the catcher, Tyrus Green. Tyrus Green up to the plate with 2 down, top of the first inning. We'll check on Eichhoff at first to be back in time. Tyrus Green came in as a defensive replacement in yesterday's game. He'll just get a piece of that first pitch for strike one. Green in yesterday's contest went 0 for 1, but did draw a couple walks. As White will check on Eichhoff at first. The 0-1, Eichhoff on the move. It's in there for strike two. But they will catch Eichhoff stealing, and that will do it for the top of the first. But that is not before the Pilots take a 2-0 lead. Home half of the first coming up for the Chinooks here in just a little bit from Lee Jordan Field. And welcome back on out here to downtown at Chugag as we're about to start the bottom of the first inning between the Chinooks and the Pilots. First pitch to Will Bass. Inside, ball one. After Will Bass, it'll be Mason Mallard, Hunter Vanso, the usual top three for the Chinooks. The 1-0. Hit on the ground towards first. Sanders will field it, takes it to first himself for out number one. One down, bottom of the first inning. Chinooks trailing the Pilots 2-0. First pitch to Mason Mallard. Hit on the ground towards third. Eichhoff will field it. Gets it over to Sanders at first in time, out number two. Two down, bottom of the first inning. Chinooks trailing the Pilots by a 2-0 score. It'll be Hunter Vansaw coming to the plate for your Chinooks. First pitch to Vansaw. Up high, ball one. On the hill today for the Pilots, Tyler Oldenburg, his sixth appearance this summer, but his first start. The 1-0. Outside ball two. Defensively behind Oldenburg, Dalton Hurd in left. Deshaun Kersey in center with Joe Gillette in right. The 2-0. Swing and a miss from Vansaw, 2-1 the count. Also defensively for the Pilots tonight, Eichhoff at third, Kyle Watson at short, with Kinnaman at second base, Tanner Sanders at first, with Tyrus Green behind the plate. The 2-1 in there called strike two. Count now even, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Vansaw. The 2-2. That one's hit out towards center field. Kersey going back, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. So the Chinooks go down in order in the bottom of the first. Pilots have a 2-0 lead after one here at Lee Jordan Field. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field, top of the second inning between the Pilots and the Chinooks. Pilots on top of your Chinooks by a 2-0 score. Tyrus Green will lead things off for the Pilots. First pitch to him. Down low, ball one. After Tyrus Green, it'll be DH Nick Orr and second baseman Duke Kinnaman. The 1-0. On the ground, right side, that'll go foul. Green was up to the plate in the bottom of the first, but that changed when Eichhoff was caught stealing. The 1-1. Just outside, ball two. White did miss that pitch by much. The 2-1. That one's poked back, foul. Count 2 balls, 2 strikes to Tyrus Green, the Pilots catcher. The 2-2. Hit on the ground. First base side, it goes foul. Count remains 2-2 to Tyrus Green. The 2-2. Hit on the ground softly. That'll be fielded by White. He'll underhand that to Whisker in time for out number 1. Nick Orr up to the plate for the Pilots. 1 down. Top of the second, they have a 2-0 advantage over your Chinooks. First pitch to Orr. In there, called strike 1 on the outer half of the plate. The 0-1. That one's hit hard out towards center field. That one's going to drop in at the wall for a base hit. Orr's going to round first, head for second. He'll hold up at second. So that'll be a double for Nick Orr with 1 down at top of the second inning. Duke Kinnaman up to the plate for the Pilots. 1 down, 1 on. First pitch to him, missed down on the turf, ball 1. Kinnaman yesterday went 0 for 2. Drew a couple walks. The 1-0. In there, called strike 1. 1-1 the count to Kinnaman. The 1-1. Just inside, ball 2. 2-1 the count to Duke Kinnaman, the freshman from Stanford. The 2-1. Just inside, ball 3. The 3-1 the count to Duke Kinnaman. The 3-1. Ball just missing again, ball 4. This looks to be a pretty tight strike zone, at least on the inside part of the plate. But that's just one broadcaster's opinion. Dalton Hurd up to the plate. 1 down, runners on first and second for the Pilots as they have a 2-0 lead. First pitch to Hurd. Shows bunt, lays it down, fielded by Borst. Who'll go to first for the out. So the sacrifice bunt works for Hurd. That'll advance the runners to second and third with 2 down. Two down, top of the second inning. Kyle Watson back up to the plate. He'll hit that right back up the middle. Bass will get to it. Somehow able to have enough time to throw out Whisker. He threw that ball from behind second base, and that wasn't hit that hard. So a nice defensive play by Will Bass will end the top half of the second. So the Pilots will leave a couple on. They have a 2-0 lead as we head into the bottom of the second here in Shugiak. First pitch to Ethan Whisker, up and outside, ball one as we're in the middle of the bottom of the second inning here at the Loretta French Sports Complex. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Evens it back up 1-1 to Whisker. After Whisker, it'll be Aaron Shackelford and Zach Sanford. No Tim Millard in the lineup today. That pitch will be lined out towards left field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Whisker rounds first, heads for second. The Whisker will be in easily with the stand-up double to start the bottom half of the second inning. That's the 6th double on the summer for Ethan Whisker. Aaron Shackelford up to the plate for the Chinooks. Ethan Whisker over at second. Nobody down, bottom of the second. Shows bunt, tries to lay it down. That will just drop. And he'll beat it out over at first. So what was originally supposed to be a sacrifice bunt will be just a single, because with it being popped up like that, Whisker could not advance. So runners at first and second for Zach Sanford. Nobody down, bottom of the second. First pitch to Sanford. He'll show his own bunt. He'll lay it down. Fielded by Oldenburg. He'll have to step to first. Just in time to get Sanford out at first. So the sacrifice bunt will work for Sanford. He advances each runner to second and to third. Ben Hill up to the plate. One down, runners at second and third for the Chinooks. First pitch to Hill. Big swing and a miss at that first pitch. Ben Hill's first game back in the lineup, had a couple days off where some other catchers got some work in. The 0-1 in there called strike two. Hill down to the count 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Hill will go down on strikes. So he'll be out number 2 in the bottom of the second. Colin Borst up to the plate. 2 down, bottom of the second. Runners at second and third. Shackelford at second with Whisker at third. First pitch to Borst. Gets the outside corner. Called strike number 1. Borst getting to start at third base today for the Chinooks. The 0-1. And that'll just miss for ball 1. Borst hitting 186 on the summer. All of those hits have been singles. The 1-1. That one's chopped on the ground at third base side. Eichhoff will field it. Gets that over to first base just in time for the final out here on the bottom of the second. So that'll do it here for the bottom of the second. Chinooks get a couple guys on in Whisker and Shackelford, but they are going to be stranded. Pilots lead 2-0 after 2 here in Chugiak. Deshaun Kersey up to the plate for the Pilots to start the third. First pitch will be down and inside, ball 1. After Kersey, it'll be Tanner Sanders and Joe Gillette coming up for the Pilots. They have a 2-0 lead over your Chinooks. One was line in the right field. Whisker tried to make a jumping grab, unable to do so. So Kersey is going to be on with the single to start the third.
Number 10, the first baseman, Tanner Sanders.
First pitch to Tanner Sanders. They're actually going to check on Kersey. They'll be back in time. Sanders, his first time up, had an infield single, and he came around to score the second run of today's game. White checks on Kersey again. Close play, but he'll be back in time. White throwing over again to check on Kersey, but that time tag not applied by Whisker. First pitch to Sanders. Kersey on the move. In there for strike 1. And they got him at second base. Great throw from Ben Hill behind the plate. And Kersey has tried to be a prolific base stealer this summer, has 7 steals, but that's the 6th time he's been caught stealing. That one's hit on the ground towards short. Shackelford will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker first in time for the out. And Whisker did a good job keeping his back foot on the bag to ensure that out for out number 2.
Number 33, the right fielder, Joe Gillette.
Joe Gillette up to the plate with 2 down here in the top of the 3rd. Pilots continue to be on top 2-0. Here's the first pitch to Joe Gillette. And they're called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. Down in the turf, ball 1. Here's the 1-1. Down low, ball 2. Gillette had a sacrifice fly to bring in a run his last time up. The 2-1. In there called strike 2. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's the right fielder, Joe Gillette. The 2-2. Just missing that time for ball 3. Full count, 3-2. Here's the 3-2. On the ground, back up the middle. Shackelford will get to it. Just in time to get the out over at first. And that'll do it for the top of the 3rd. Kersey was on with a single, but he was thrown out by Hill. And then both Sanders and Gillette grounded out to Shackelford at short. And after the top half of the 3rd, the Pilots unable to add on any more runs. They continue to lead over your Chinooks by a 2-0 score as we head into the bottom of the 3rd. And welcome back as we're starting the bottom of the 3rd inning. Greg Populison up to the plate. That'll be first pitch swinging. That's out towards right field. That'll be brought in by center fielder Deshaun Kersey for out number 1. Will Bass up to the plate for your Chinooks with 1 down. That'll be first pitch swinging at the pitch down in the turf. Bass grounded out to first. His first time up today. The 0-1. So we're going to miss it once again. He'll fall behind 0-2. Bass plays his ball at Wayland Baptist University in Plainview, Texas. Here's the 0-2. I'll chop that one back to. The 0-2 grounded. First, second base side. Kinnaman unable to get to that'll be a base hit for Bass. His first hit in a little while. His last hit was a double against these Pilots 2 days ago. He went 0 for yesterday. It's nice to see Will Bass get back in the hit column. One down, bottom of the third. That brings Mason Mallard up to the plate. First pitch to him. Outside, ball one. Mallard grounded out to third, his first time up today. The 1-0. Swing and a min one. Mallard played at Tyler Junior College this past season. The 1-1. That's hit on the ground. Oldenburg will trip before he got to it, and Mallard beats it out over at first. So unfortunate there for Oldenburg as he tripped as he was coming off of the mound, but that was really the break the Chinooks needed to get both of those guys on base. Hunter Vansaw now up to the plate. 2 on, 1 down. Here's the first pitch to Vansaw. Broke his bat. That one's going to get past Kinnaman for a base hit. They're going to send home Bass. He's going to be in without a throw. How to make it a 2-1 game. Chinooks still trail after the RBI single from Hunter Vansaw. Ethan Whisker up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the third. 2-1 game. Chinooks trail, but they have runners on first and second. First pitch to Whisker. Mallard on the move. So was Vansaw. Vansaw got a late jump, but both of them will be in there safely. That's a double steal for the Chinooks. Puts runners at second and third, 1 down. Third stolen base of summer for Vansaw, and that's the 7th for Mallard. Mallard leads the team in stolen bases. The 1-0. And they're called strike one to Whisker, evens it back up at 1-1. Whisker had a double his first time up. Then he was stranded on the third. The 1-1. That one's lined out towards right field. That'll drop in for another hit. Mallard's going to walk in and score. Vansaw's going to sprint in to score. Whisker is going to be sliding into third for a triple. A 2 RBI triple from Ethan Whisker makes it 3-2. Nooks on top. Aaron Shackelford up to the plate, 1 down. Bottom of the third, Chinooks just took a 3-2 lead. First pitch to Shackelford will miss for ball one. Shackelford had a bunt single his first time up today. Here's the 1-0. And they're called strike one. 1-1 the count to Shackelford. Shackelford hitting .259 on the summer. The 1-1. Outside. That actually will get into the turf for ball two. Two to one count to Aaron Shackelford with one down, bottom of the third. The 2-1. Line to left side, out of play. Two balls, two strikes to Aaron Shackelford. A runner on third and Ethan Whisker. The 2-2. Lined left side. Hurd running over in foul ground. He'll make the catch. Whisker won't be able to tag from third. Two down, bottom of the third inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Chinooks on top by a 3-2 score. It looks like on that play, Hurd might have hurt himself. And now they will be bringing in Jeremiah Burks to replace him. So two down, Zach Sanford up to the plate. First pitch to Sanford. That one's grounded over towards second. Kinnaman will get to it. Underhands that just in time to Sanders to end this bottom of the third. So Sanford grounds out to second, but that'll do it for the bottom of the third, but that's not before the Chinooks have a big inning off of hits from Bass, Mallard, Vansaw, and Whisker. And that puts the Chinooks up by a 3-2 score as we head in to the top of the fourth. Nate Eichhoff up to the plate for the Pilots. Chinooks on top over the Pilots by a 3-2 score. We're in the top of the fourth here at Lee Jordan Field. First pitch to Eichhoff. Lined just past a diving Aaron Shackelford. That'll be a base hit for Eichhoff, his second hit of the day.
Number 19, the catcher, Tyrus Green.
Tyrus Green up to the plate now for the Pilots. Shows Blunt, pulls it back. That's ball one. One and no count to Tyrus Green. He grounded out to Cody White on the mound his first time up. The 1-0. Misses low. 2-0 now to Green. The 2-0. Up and outside, ball three. I think White knew that pitch would miss as soon as it left his hand. 3-0 the count to Tyrus Green. The 3-0 shows bunt. Pulls it back. That's ball four. So Green will walk on 4 straight pitches. That brings Nick Orr up to the plate. Nobody down. Runners at first and second for the Pilots. His first time up had a double. He'll be showing bunt, the pitch. He'll lay that down, fielded by Borst. He'll go over to first to get that out. So the sac bunt for Orr will work, puts runners at second and third with one down.
Number 3, the second baseman, Duke Kinnaman.
So Duke Kinnaman up to the plate, one down. Top of the fourth inning, runners at second and third for the Pilots. Kinnaman drew a walk his first time up. First pitch to him. Upstairs, ball one. Now Chris Beck going to go have a chat with Cody White. We thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. Top of the fourth inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Quick meeting on the mound. Chinooks are on top by a 3-2 score, but the Pilots threatening once again. Today's been real back and forth so far. Pilots started off this game by putting 2 on the board. Chinooks came back in the bottom of the third and put 3 up. And it's a 1-0 count to Duke Kinnaman. They'll check over to second. Ball almost got away from Will Bass. Did pop out of his glove, but didn't move too far away. So it's still a 1-0 count to Kinnaman. The 1-0. Down in the turf. Ball two. Nice stop from Hill. Here's the 2-0. Misses just down and inside, ball three. 3-0, the count to Duke Kinnaman, the Pilots' second baseman. The 3-0. In there, called strike one. Kinnaman was about to flip his bat over to the Pilots' dugout. Kinnaman came into today's game hitting 176. Here's the 3-1. That one's hit on the ground. Bounces in front of Shackelford. Doesn't have enough time to go over to the plate. Has the time to go to first. Gets the out. And then they'll throw it back and get that runner out at third. So a run does come in to tie the game up at 3, but the Chinooks get out of that top half of the fourth. So we'll be right back here from Lee Jordan Field in just a few moments. This game just got tied up at 3 apiece. First pitch to Ben Hill. They'll foul that one off. Ben Hill up to the plate. Bottom of the fourth inning, 3-3 your score between the Pilots and the Chinooks. After Ben Hill, it'll be Colin Borst and Greg Populison. The 0-1. Just inside ball one. Hill struck out swinging his first time up. The 1-1. It'll catch the outside corner. Called strike two. Hill, the catcher from Olivet Nazarene. The 1-2. Got him looking, called strike three. So Hill will go down and strike for the second time today. That's out number one in the bottom of the fourth. Colin Borst up to the plate now for the Chinooks. First pitch to him, a miss inside, ball one. Borst grounded to third, his first time up. The 1-0. That time will be in there on the inside half of the plate, called strike one. Here's the 1-1. Kind of a half swing that time from Borst. So he'll go around that strike two. 1-2 count to Colin Borst, third baseman from Hillsdale College. The 1-2. Got him looking inner half of the plate. He'll go down looking just as Ben Hill did before him. That's out number 2 in the bottom of the 4th.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 10, the center fielder, Greg Poppy-Listen.
Greg Poppy-Listen up to the plate now for the Chinooks with 2 down. He'll show a bunt, lays it down, but that'll go off of him, foul. And Poppy-Listen, one of the few guys with the authority to bunt with nobody on. Also one of the only guys they'd give the bunt to sign to with 2 down. Here's the 0-1. Way outside, ball 1. Poppy-Listen came into today's game hitting 172. Couple doubles, 1 triple. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Falls behind 1-2. One and two count to Greg Poppy-Listen. 2 down, bottom of the 4th. The 1-2. Hit on the ground, down the third base line. That's a fair ball. Poppy-Listen got around first, head for second, and he'll be in the second base standing up. And that'll be a double for Greg Poppy-Listen, his 3rd on the summer.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 6, the second baseman, Will Bass.
Will Bass up to the plate. 2 down, bottom of the 4th. He has a runner at second, and Greg Poppy-Listen. First pitch to Bass. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Will 1 for 2 on the day, had an infield single back in the 3rd. Also came around to score. Here's the 0-1. This is low, ball 1. Bass, the AIA veteran, his 2nd year with the Chinooks, 3rd year with Athletes in Action, played for the Rochester Ridgemen a couple summers ago. The 1-1. Trickled out right side, that'll go foul. One and two the count to Will Bass. Here's the 1-2. Poppy-Listen on the move. That's fouled off. And Bass obviously had to swing at that pitch in the strike zone. Otherwise, he'd go down on strikes, and it wouldn't matter because that'd be out number 3. Count remains 1-2 to Will Bass. Poppy-Listen the runner on second. The 1-2. That'll get away from the catcher and actually bounced all the way out of play. Don't see that too often. That took a very awkward stop, to say the least. It's Poppy-Listen given third. Probably could have came around to score had that stayed in the yard if that had taken a different kind of weird bounce. Here's the 2-2. God, I'm looking called strike 3. So that'll do it for the bottom of the fourth inning. Chinooks get a runner on third, but he'll be stranded. And the score remains 3-3 as we head into the top of the fifth here in Chugiak. And we're back here to start the top of the fifth. First pitch to Jeremiah Burks in there, called strike one. Here's the 0-1. Up and outside, ball one, 1-1 to Burks. Burks came in as a defensive replacement for Dalton Hurd, who apparently hurt himself as he went over to catch a fly ball. The 1-1. That's in on the ground. Past the diving Colin Boris. Shackelford will stop it, but unable to make a play. So that'll be an infield single for Burks to start off the top of the fifth. Kyle Watson up to the plate now for the Pilots. They'll check on Burks. He's back in time. Burks, the second best base stealer for the Pilots in terms of numbers. White checks on him again. He's back in time. Burks on the summer, 10 steals. Watson at the plate has 16. First pitch to him. Burks on the move. Taken for a strike. Well, they got him at second. Third. Runner thrown out by Ben Hill. And that's out number one here in the top of the fifth. Here's the 0-1. In there called strike two. Watson falls behind 0-2. Yeah, two gonna miss down and outside, ball one. Watson has grounded out to second a couple times today. 1-2 is gonna miss just down and in for ball two. The 2-2 lined back and out of play. Here comes the 2-2. Down and outside, ball three as that trickles away from Hill. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. First full count we've seen today from Cody White, who's in his 5th inning of work now. The 3-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Bass will field it. He'll underhand that to Whisker in time, out number 2, and that'll be the third time Watson's grounded out to Bass. Now Deshaun Kersey coming up to the plate. 2 down at top of the 5th, 3-3 your score. First one to him in there, called strike 1. Kersey 2 for 2 today with a pair of singles. The 0-1. Misses just low, called ball 1. The 1-1. That one's fouled back. Kersey, the freshman from the University of Utah. The 1-2. Up high, ball 2. Two and two the count to Kersey. The 2-2. That one's lined out towards center field. Populison takes a couple steps back. He'll grab that one for out number 3. So that'll do it for the top of the 5th. 3-3 remains your score here in downtown Chugach. And welcome back. It's the bottom of the 5th inning here in downtown Chugach. Mason Mallard first up to the plate for the Chinooks. First pitch to him in there, called strike 1. Mallard 1 for 2 on the day with a bunt hit single. That one will be trickled back foul. One, two, the count to Mason Mallard. Here's the 0-2. Just outside, ball 1. Mallard originally from White House, Texas. Here's the 1-2. That'll come in and plunk Mallard. Looks to be around the elbow. Looks like it's lucky that he has that guard on. Hunter Vansaw up to the plate. Nobody down. Bottom of the 5th. First pitch to Vansaw. In there, called strike 1. Vansaw 1 for 2 today. Had an RBI single. That was back in the 3rd. The 0-1, Mallard on the move. Vansaw tries to lay down the bunt. Don't see him bunt very often, but that'll go foul. Count now 0-2 to Vansaw. The 0-2. Line out of play.
And that foul ball sponsored by the Chinook Shop.
Vansaw leading the team in average. It's been leading the team in average just about the entire year. That one's ground right past Mason Mallard. He was the closest one to that. He'll keep himself from getting out. That'll be another single from Vansaw. I'll put runners at first and second for Ethan Whisker. And with the situation looking like it is on the base pass, we might actually see Whisker lay down a bunt. I feel like we haven't seen that all summer. Because, why would we for the most part? So we'll see what the plan is for Whisker up to the plate. And we could see a change on the mound now for the Pilots as they're going to go have a meeting. They do have somebody out there getting loose. So we thank you for joining us here from downtown Chugiak. And that will be it for Tyler Oldenburg. So we will step aside. We'll have a new pitcher coming into the game for the Pilots here in just a moment. 3-3 between the Chinooks and the Pilots. And welcome back on out here to Lee Jordan Field. We're in the middle of the bottom of the fifth inning. Nobody down for the Chinooks. Runners at first and second. Mason Mallard at second. Hunter Vansaw at first. Ethan Whiskers at the plate. First pitch to him. Catch the outside corner, called strike one. New pitcher on the hill for the Pilots, Timothy Holdgraffer. Actually pitched a couple innings in yesterday's game. Pitched good enough to get the win. Here's the 0-1. Hit softly left side. That'll go foul. I want to count to Ethan Whisker. Perfect 2 for 2 on the day with a double and a triple. Now, once again, going to be just Barely hit back foul. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Whisker will go down on strikes. That'll be the first out here in the bottom of the fifth.
Batting for Chinooks, number 8, the shortstop, Aaron Shackelford.
Aaron Shackelford up to the plate, one down, bottom of the fifth inning. 3-3 your score between the Chinooks and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. First one to Shackelford. Lined down that left field line. That'll drop in for a fair ball. Mallard's going to come in to score. And they're going to hold up Van Stoss. That'll be an RBI double for Aaron Shackelford. Puts the Chinooks up by a 4-3 score.
Batting for Chinooks, number 11, the right fielder, Zach Sanford.
Zach Sanford now to the plate, one down, bottom of the fifth. First pitch to Sanford. Hit on the ground, third base side. Eichhoff will look back, gets it over to first. In time for out number 2. Runners will hold.
Moving to the plate for Chinooks, number 30, the catcher, Ben Hill.
Ben Hill up to the plate, 2 down, bottom of the fifth inning, 4-3. Chinooks on top over the Pilots. First pitch to Hill. Just outside, ball 1. Hill hasn't made an impact at the plate yet today. He's 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts, but has been effective behind the plate as he has caught 3 runners stealing up to this point in the game. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. That ball barely got away from Green, not enough for Van Saw to advance from third. 1-1 the count to Ben Hill. The 1-1. That one's hit on the ground hard towards third. Eichhoff will field it. Has enough time to go over to first and get out Ben Hill for out number 3. So I'll do it for the bottom of the fifth, but not before the Chinooks add on another run. They now lead by a score of 4-3 after 5 innings here in Chugiak. And welcome back. Top of the sixth inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Chinooks on top by a 4-3 score over the Pilots. Cody White still on the hill for your Chinooks. His sixth inning of work now. First pitch to Tanner Sanders will miss inside, ball one. Sanders 1 for 2 on the day, had an infield single his first time up. The 1-0 trickled back toward the Chinook dugout, foul. Here's the 1-1. That'll miss a little high, ball two. That pitch will miss for ball three. 3-1 the count to Tanner Sanders. The 3-1. Just inside, ball four. Third walk given up by White today. Now Hill and White going to have a little chat. Seeing someone up and getting loose in the Chinook bullpen. Looks like it's Preston White out there, but I can't quite be sure. He's about 300 feet away or so. Joe Gillette now up to the plate, nobody down, top of the sixth inning. And they'll check over at first on Sanders. Will be back in time. First pitch to Gillette. Inside, ball one. Gillette 0 for 1 on the day, grounded out in the third. Earlier on in the game, had a sac fly. The 1-0. Hit hard left side, but that'll go foul. We'll check on Sanders again over first. Will be back in time. Sanders does have 6 steals this summer. Hasn't been caught once. The 1-1. Inside, ball two. Two and 1 the count to Joe Gillette. The 2-1. And that one's chopped foul. Count even once again, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Joe Gillette. We'll check on Sanders again at first. He's back in time. Again, a close play. Two and two the count to Joe Gillette. The 2-2. That'll miss low. Good job by Hill keeping that ball in front of him. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Joe Gillette, the sophomore from Oregon State. The 3-2. And that one's foul. That one landed fair, but that one fouled off of Gillette's front foot, it looked like. Count remains full to Gillette as he's trying to get himself back in that box. Tanner Sanders over at first for the Pilots. Nobody down here in the top of the 6th. It's a full count to Joe Gillette. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 3-2. God, I'm looking called strike 3. So that'll be the first strikeout today for Cody White. That'll be the first out here in the top of the 6th. Brings up Nate Eichhoff. First one to him. And they're called strike 1. Now White will take a second as he steps off the rubber. Here's the 0-1. Outside ball 1. One count to Eichhoff. He's 2 for 2 on the day. Here's the 1-1. Lined right back to Cody White. Somehow catches that on the line. Softly tosses that over to Ethan Whisker at first to complete the line out double play. And that'll do it for the top of the 6th. And Chinooks remain on top by a 4-3 score. First pitch to Colin Borst, and they're called strike 1. Bottom of the 6th inning now in downtown Chugiak. Here's the 0-1. Line to right side. That'll get out of play. New pitcher on the hill for the Pilots, Christian Martinek. That ball lined down the first base line. It'll go foul. Forced on the day 0 for 2. Ground out and a strikeout. The 0-2. Outside, ball 1. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Forrest couldn't quite time that one from Martinek. He'll go down on strikes. He's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 6th.
At the plate for the Chinooks, number 10, the center fielder, Greg Population.
Greg Population up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the 6th inning. Chinooks up by a 4-3 score over the Pilots. First one to Population. Shows bunt. That one's going to pop way up. Drops right in front of our camera. Population 1 for 2 on the day. Had a double his last time up. The 1-0. Foul tipped by Populous and evens back up 1-1. Greg Populous plays his ball at New Mexico State University. The 1-1. Tries to lay it down the bunt. That'll pop back foul. Went into the count to Greg Populison. Count 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He'll go down on strikes. Second straight Chinook to strike out. That's the second out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Coming to the plate, declaring Chinooks number 6, the second baseman, Will Bass.
So that'll bring up Will Bass to the plate. 2 down, bottom of the 6th. Chinooks up by a score of 4-3 over the Pilots. First one to Will Bass. Breaking pitch in there, called strike 1. Bass 1 for 3 on the day. The 0-1. Down on the turf, ball 1. Here's the 1-1. Chopped on the ground, right side. I thought it'll go foul. One and two the count to Will Bass, the second baseman from Wayland Baptist. The 1-2. That'll come in and plunk him in the back. This pass will be hit by the pitch, goes down to first. That'll bring up Mason Mallard to the plate with 2 down, as the Chinooks trying to get something going with 2. First one to Mallard. Bass on the move. Swing and a miss from Mallard. To be in there at second with the steal. That'll be the 6th steal on the summer for Bass. 0-1 the count to Mallard. Bass on second. Here's the 0-1. Inside ball 2. 1-1 the count to 1-1 the count to Mallard, excuse me. Passes the runner at second. The 1-1. Breaking pitch will miss ball 2. Two on the count to Mason Mallard. The 2-1. Chopped on the ground. Over towards second. Kinnaman will get to it. And that'll go right off the glove of Sanders at first. And that will allow Bass to come in and score. So an error by first baseman Tanner Sanders allows the Chinooks to take a 5-3 lead.
Batting the career Chinooks number 22, the designated hitter, Hunter Vansaw.
First one to Vansaw will miss inside. Mallard on the move. He'll swipe another base as well. So that's now the 7th steal from Mallard, and he knew that Bass had just tied him, so he had to go out and get himself another steal. The 1-0 Mallard on the move again. And this time they get him at third. So Mallard a little too aggressive on the base pass, and that'll do it for the bottom of the 6th, but not before the Chinooks add on another run. They lead 5-3 as we head into the 7th. And welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field, starting off the bottom of the 7th inning. Chinooks up by a score of 5-3 over the Pilots. First pitch to Tyrus Green. That's in there called strike 1. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks. This one definitely surprised me. Brady Batten coming out of the bullpen for the first time this summer. The 0-1. Now it's on the ground. Shackelford will field it at short. Hard throw. Makes a throw, but not in time. Infield single there for Green. That'll bring Nick Orr up to the plate for the Pilots. Orr 1 for 1 on the game with a double. Had a sacrifice bunt earlier. First one to him will miss upstairs, ball 1. Ben will check over at first on green. He'll be back in time. Or the freshman from State. The 1-0. That one's launched out towards left field. But Mason Mallard able to bring that one in for out number 1. That one sounded better off the bat than it ended up being hit.
Number 3, the second baseman, Duke Kinneman.
Duke Kinneman now up to the plate, 1 down. Top 7th inning, Chinooks up 5-3. First pitch to Kinneman. In there, called strike 1. Kinneman 0 for 1 today, had a ground out RBI earlier in the game. Ben checks on green at first. He'll be back in time. They'll check over there at first once again. He'll be back in time. Kinneman, also a freshman from Stanford. Here's the 0-1. That one's hit on the ground to Shackelford field. It steps on second for 1. And back over to Ethan Whisker for the double play, 6-3 style. And that'll do it for the top of the 7th. And the Pilots unable to do anything. Chinooks still on top, 5-3. Stretch time here at Lee Jordan Field. First pitch to Hunter Vansaw will be up high, ball 1. Bottom of the 7th inning here in Chugiak. Chinooks up 5-3. The 1-0. Outside ball 2. Next one to Vansaw. In there for the strike. Here's the 2-1. Line to left side. That'll go out of play.
And that ball sponsored by friends of Dan Sattler.
2-2 to Hunter Vansaw. 2 for 3 on the day. Couple singles. The 2-2. Outside ball 3. I'm making a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The 3-2. Popped up left side. That'll get out of play.
And that ball sponsored by Laborers Local 341.
Count remains 3-2 to Hunter Vansaw. He'll be heading to Starkville, Mississippi to attend Mississippi State University starting in the fall. The 3-2. And that'll miss for ball 4. So Vansaw draws the walk. 19th walk of the summer for Vansaw. Green now wants to have a quick word with pitcher Christian Martinek. Nobody down. Bottom of the 7th. Chinooks have a runner on first in Hunter Vansaw.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 25, the first baseman, Ethan Whisker.
Ethan Whisker up to the plate now for the Chinooks. He's 2 for 3 on the day with a triple and a double as they'll check on Vansaw over at first. Seen a lot of stolen bases today from the Chinooks, surprisingly enough. Vansaw already has one of his own today. First one to Whisker. Up and outside, ball 1. Whisker plays his ball at Hillsdale College. The 1-0. That one's lined right over the hands of Duke Kinnaman. That'll be a single from Whisker. Vansaw will advance to third. Runners at first and third. Nobody down. Aaron Shackelford coming up to the plate.
Now batting, the first Chinooks, number 8, the shortstop, Aaron Shackelford.
Aaron Shackelford up to the plate now for the Chinooks. First pitch to him inside, called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. That'll catch the outside corner, called strike 2. Shackelford quickly down 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Shackelford goes down on strikes. He's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 7th.
Going to the plate before you, Chinooks, number 11, the right fielder, Zach Sanford. Go, Zach.
Zach Sanford up to the plate now for the Chinooks. 1 down, runners at the corners. They have a 5-3 advantage. Now the first, he's back in time. Sanford on the day 0 for 2. First pitch to him. Up high, ball 1. Sanford did have a sacrifice bunt that advanced the runners back in the 2nd, but then those runners were stranded. The 1-0. Down in the turf, ball 2. To another count to Zach Sanford. Sanford, originally from Waldorf, Maryland, plays his ball at Glenville, West Virginia. That one's in there, called strike 1. Sanford on the summer came into today's game hitting .241. Here's the 2-1. Just catching the outside corner, called strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Zach Sanford. The 2-2. Lays off that pitch up high for ball 3. And I'm making a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Zach Sanford. Ben Hill waiting on deck. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Sanford goes down on strikes. It's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 7th.
For your Chinooks, number 30. The catcher, Ben Hill.
Ben Hill up to the plate now. 2 down, bottom of the 7th. Chinooks on top by a 5-3 score. Runners at the corners. Hunter Vansaw's at third. Ethan Whisker at first. First one to Hill. And they're called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. Down and outside. Nice stop from Green. Keeps that in front of him. Hill 0 for 3 today at the plate. Couple strikeouts. But he's definitely made a difference in the field behind the plate. Has thrown out 3 runners. We'll check on Whisker at first. He'll be back in time. The 1-1. Taken for a called strike 2. One into the count now to Ben Hill. Hill originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. The 1-2. Lets that one go down in the turf. Whisker will advance on the passed ball. Two balls, 2 strikes to Hill. Runners at second and third with 2 down. The 2-2. That'll miss low, ball 3. Full count once again, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Ben Hill. The 3-2. And that'll miss for ball 4. Good eye from Ben Hill to draw the walk. That'll load up the bases for Colin Borst. And now we're going to have a pinch hitter. My guess would be Tim Millard since it's Colin Borst scheduled to come up. We will see if I can tell the future, and I can, as Millard's putting on his batting gloves. That's good to know that now that I have that power. So Tim Millard coming in to pinch hit in a big spot. Bases loaded, 2 down. Bottom of the 7th. Chinooks are up by a 5-3 score, but Coach Groth would like to see a couple more runs on the board.
Coming to the plate for your Chinooks, number 24, Tim Millard.
So Tim Millard coming up to the plate. Millard off the plate with 2 down, bases loaded. First pitch, I'll pop that one back foul.
And that foul ball sponsored by the Chinooks Shack.
The 0-1. Down and outside, ball 1. 1-1 the count to Tim Millard. Millard hitting .238 on the summer. Has struggled a little bit at the plate as of late. 1 double to go with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. The 1-1. He wanted that pitch, but he'll let that one go down low for ball 2. 2-1 the count to the pinch hitter, Tim Millard. Millard pinch hitting for Colin Borst. The 2-1. This is low, ball 3. 3-1 the count to Tim Millard. Christian Martinic in danger of walking in a run. The 3-1. In there, called strike 2. For the third straight time, it's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 2 down, bottom of the 7th inning. Chinooks up 5-3. Here's a 3-2. That one's hit on the ground. Diving stop by Watson. Actually, it gets through him. That'll be a base hit for Millard. 1 comes to score, 2-run score. A 2 RBI single coming in cold for Tim Millard. Nooks up 7-3.
Now batting for your Chinooks, number 10, the center fielder, Gray Population.
It's Greg Populous and up to the plate now for the Chinooks. First pitch to him. That one's fouled back. So it's an 0-1 count to Greg Populous, and Chinooks now by a 7-3 score. The 0-1. Rough swing there from Populous, and he chased that one. So it's an 0-2 count to Greg Populous, and here's the 0-2. That one's launched out to left field, but Jeremiah Burks will be able to bring that one in for the final out of the inning. So that'll do it for the bottom of the 7th, but not before 2 runs come across on a pinch hit. 2 RBI single from Tim Millard. Chinooks up 7-3 as we head into the 8th. And welcome back here to downtown Chugiak. We're starting off the top of the 8th inning. Chinooks up by a 7-3 score. Jeremiah Burks first up. First pitch to him in there, called strike one. After Burks, it'll be the top of the order. Kyle Watson and Sean Kersey coming up. The 0-1. In there, called strike two. Burks quickly down 0-2 to Brady Batten, who's in the second inning of relief. First time we've seen him out of the bullpen. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Burks goes down on strikes.
Number 14, the shortstop, Kyle Watson.
One down, top of the eighth. Kyle Watson coming back up to the plate. First pitch to Watson. And they're called strike one. Watson 0 for 3 today, has grounded out to second base each of his at-bats today. The 0-1. Down in the turf, ball one. Here's the 1-1. Tried to check his swing. He'll go around for strike two. Here's the 1-2. Tried to check his swing. He goes around again. And Hill will throw it to first to complete the strikeout. So second straight strikeout from Brady Batten. That's out number 2 here in the top of the eighth.
Number 2, the center fielder, Sean Kersey.
Sean Kersey now up to the plate for the Pilots. First pitch to him. And they're called strike one. Batten has gotten the first pitch strike on all 3 hitters so far. Here's the 0-1. Down and outside, ball one. Kersey 2 for 3 on the day with 2 singles. The 1-1. In there, called strike two on the outer half of the plate. 1-2 the count to Kersey. Here's the 1-2. Fouled right back at me. Made me jump a little bit. One and two the count to Kersey. Here's the 1-2. Hit on the ground towards second. Bass will field it. Gets that over to Whisker in time. Out number 3. So the Pilots go down 1-2-3 in the top of the eighth. They're unable to do anything. They trail the Chinooks by a score of 7-3 as we head into the bottom of the eighth. First pitch to Will Bass. Lined out towards left field. That'll be brought in for out number 1. New pitcher on the hill for the Pilots. It's actually the guy that was their first baseman, Tanner Sanders, has moved now over to the mound. First pitch to Mason Mallard, misses low, ball 1. Here's the 1-0. That's lined right back up the middle. That'll be a base hit from Mallard. So Mallard's on with 1 down here in the bottom of the 8th.
Now batting the British Chinooks, number 22, designated hitter Hunter Vansaw.
Hunter Vansaw now up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the 8th. First pitch to Vansaw, misses ball 1. Here's the 1-0. Lined out of play.
And that foul ball sponsored by Neighbors Local 341.
Here's the 1-1. An outside ball 2. Two and 1 the count to Hunter Vansaw. The 2-1. Down and inside ball 3. They'll check on Mallard. He'll be safe. Three and 1 the count to Hunter Vansaw, the 3-1. Lines that one foul as well. Full count out, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Hunter Vansaw. Here's the 3-2. That one's lined out towards right field into the gap. That'll drop in for a knock from Vansaw. He's going to round first, heads for second. He'll be in there with a double. Mallard will advance to third. So that's the 3rd hit today from Vansaw. That'll bring Ethan Whisker up to the plate.
At the plate, British Chinooks, number 25, the first baseman, Ethan Whisker.
Ethan Whisker up to the plate. 3 for 4 on the day. That'll be first pitch swinging at that one. Whisker on the day, a double, a triple, and a single. I think most of you at home know what that means. The 0-1. Another swing and a miss. He'll fall behind 0-2. 0-2 to Ethan Whisker, 1 down, bottom of the 8th. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Goes down on strikes. We'll flip it over to first to complete the strikeout. So Whisker looks like he'll finish his day a home run short of the cycle. So 2 down, bottom of the 8th. That brings Aaron Shackelford up to the plate. First pitch to him. That's it back up the middle. Watson will get to it. Gets it over to first in time for the last out of the inning. So that'll do it for the bottom of the 8th. Chinooks will leave a couple guys on, and they lead over the Pilots by a score of 7-3 as we head into the 9th. Welcome back as we're in the top of the 9th inning here in Chugiak, Alaska. New pitch on the hill for your Chinooks, Preston White. First pitch to Tanner Sanders in there, called strike one. Sanders started this game at first. He's just finished the last inning pitching for the Pilots. The 0-1. Hit on the ground towards short. And Shackelford will muff that, so that'll be an error on him.
Number 33, the right fielder, Joe Gillette.
Joe Gillette now up to the plate for the Pilots. Sanders safe at first on the error. First pitch to Sanders. Swing and a miss. That's actually Gillette at the plate. Sanders is over at first. Gillette on the day 0 for 2. Ground out and a strikeout. Also had a sacrifice fly. The 0-1. Catches the outside corner. Called strike 2. On to the count to Gillette. Here's the 0-2. Way outside. Went to the count to Gillette. I'll check on Sanders over first. I'll be back in time. Sanders does already have 1 stolen base today. The 1-2. That one's popped way up. That'll stay in the infield. Aaron Shackelford will be the man to get under that for out number 1. Pinch hitter for the Pilots, number 20, RJ Cordero. First pitch to Cordero. Line on the ground towards short. Shackelford to flip it over to Bass for 1. And over to Whisker for the 6-4-3 double play. And that'll end this contest. Chinooks, your winners. They win by a score of 7-3 over the Pilots.
Have a great night, and thanks for supporting Chinooks Baseball.
So with that, a lot of ways I could go for player of the game, as there was a lot of Chinook hits tonight, 13 to be exact. Mallard had 2 hits. Vansaw had 3, as did Whisker. Shackelford with 2, and Millard with that big blast for the off the bench. So I'll go with Vansaw as our player of the game. 3rd time he'll get this honor. So Hunter Vansaw will be our player of the game for today. And once again, Chinooks win by a score of 7-3. So I'll have my post-game interview with Hunter Vansaw here in just a little bit. And thank you for sticking around, Chinook fans. Here I am with Hunter Vansaw, our player of the game. Third time he's got this award. Had 3 hits today. Hunter, another good day at the plate. So what were you seeing up there today?
I was just seeing it well, I guess. Kind of got myself into some two-strike counts, but I was able to get the ball on ground in certain situations, and then worked it that last at bat into a 3-2 count, and I got a pretty grouped fastball to me that I was able to hit for a double.
And so again, good day at the plate. You had the RBI single in the third, and then you and Mason both swiped a base. So was that a planned thing for you guys both to steal at the same time?
Not really. Well, he kind of likes to steal third a lot, so I have to really keep my eye on him when I'm on first and he's on second. So usually he'll give me like a hand gesture that he's about to go, but that time I was just paying attention and checking to see his first movement, and I saw him go, so I just took off.
And sometimes it helps to be behind the guy, as fast as Mason.
Oh yeah.
That always helps the guys that aren't quite Mason fast out. So again, you get another hit. You also got on base with a walk, came around to score a run. But you were the DH today, so do you think that was able to help you be a little more efficient today at the plate, not having to worry about playing right field?
I mean, I'm indifferent about it. I mean, I love to DH sometimes because just to get your body a little rest. But I mean, it was definitely, I don't know. It's easier to focus, I guess, whenever you're just DHing. But um, regardless, I feel like I can be about the same.
So you have a good day at the plate again. I know it's like your time. Have a good day, and now you guys get to not play the Pilots. You get to play the Bucks tomorrow in Anchorage. So what can you take from today's game moving forward?
I guess just getting on time with the fastball or in the count, not getting myself 2 strikes. So, um, but whatever happens, happens. So can't really control it.
And that's my player of the game interview with Hunter Vansaw for today's game. Hunter, thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be in Anchorage tomorrow against the Bucks. So we keep playing Anchorage teams, but we'll be in Anchorage tomorrow at Mulcahy Stadium. So stay for that, Chinooks fans.